Hello everyone! If you're a Chinese food lover as I am, you're going to want to hold on to your hat and take a seat. Because today, I'm going to take you to a Chinese food lover's paradise. A virtual cornucopia of delectable recipes. You won't want to miss out on this brand new Dynamite Gem. I'm so excited to tell you about a new restaurant that we stumbled upon last week. The menu is predominantly Chinese dishes, but there's also a smattering of Vietnamese as well. This restaurant is right up there with some of the best places we've reviewed in Vegas so far. Sinh Sinh in the Shanghai Plaza, smack dab in the heart of our wonderful Chinatown on Spring Mountain Road. Sadly, Banana Leaf shuffled off its mortal coil a few months back, and Sinh Sinh is now doing this spot proud. Stay tuned to the end of our video because Sinh Sinh has a special offer to you, our viewers, and you won't want to miss it. We started the day with a few drinks. I don't usually get excited about beverages, but I have to tell you that they have three of the best non-alcoholic drinks I've ever tasted. The mango passion fruit tea is sensational. Such a nice surprise with the seeds of the passion fruit at the bottom. Next we had the kumquat lemon tea. Sweet, citrusy, and a wonderful bitter flavor from the skins of the fresh kumquats. They almost bite you back when you drink it. And last, but in no way least, a wonderful lime soda. A refreshing treat, light and natural tasting, with a tart lime kick that will wake you up in an instant. It's not your run-of-the-mill ordinary soda. Do you recall what Sprite used to taste like before they started using high fructose corn syrup? Well, this puts that to shame. The name may be a little confusing since it's actually fried. Well, that misdirection is the only thing I can find fault with in this dish. I don't know where to begin except to tell you that soft-shell crab and I go way back. It was my mom's absolute favorite seafood, and she went to great lengths to find it when I was a kid. I remember long road trips to strange markets in search of it while in season. She'd never pass it up on a menu, nor now do I. I wish you were here to taste this. She'd love it. Honestly, I have to say that this is the best preparation I've had since my mom's Italian version of it. It's the Asian equivalent. Lightly breaded, no fishy taste whatsoever, and an impressive crispy exterior with a delightful crunch. They told me to squeeze a lime onto the crab, then dip it into the hot sauce. Wow, it is great this way. I have to say that it's also great in its pure, unadulterated state as well. I've had soft-shell crab at many restaurants in Vegas, but this puts them all to shame. It's so good. I love all the garlic, green onions, butter, and the chili sprinkled on it as well. They give you rice here with everything. Put a little of the sauteed peppers and garlic mixture on it, and it's elevated to another level. It's off the hook good, and I could eat this soft-shell crab anytime, anywhere, and be a happy boy. These spring rolls are your quintessential Vietnamese appetizer that you can get at almost any Vietnamese or Thai restaurant. Made from rice paper soaked in water till it's pliable. Then they stuff it with vermicelli rice noodles, cilantro, basil, mint, and fresh shrimp. I always feel so healthy after eating these. They have such a clean, fresh taste. I love them. Anything with shrimp at Sinh Sinh is top-notch since they use a superior quality. It's always a sauce which will make or break this dish. Well, no worries here. I'm loving this sauce. It's made of peanuts and chilies with a ton of great aromatic spices. When the sauce lets down this dish, it's usually because it's bland due to a lack of herbs. It needs the herbs to give it that phenomenal, fresh, bright, unique taste. Well, they get it right here at Sinh Sinh. The proper amount of herbs to make it a fantastic sauce. These are a must-try. Well, we were on the fence about this dish, and finally decided not to order it. But then, I overheard a table of people oohing and eyeing after tasting it, so I decided to give it a whirl. We got it with the French fried rice. So, what is French fried rice, you may ask? Well, essentially, it's traditional fried rice, but with the addition of butter. I guess that's what you'd expect from something influenced by French cuisine. The rice has a nice flavor, it's subtle, yet very tasty. The steak has a rich, wonderful umami flavor. The steak tips here are out of this world. Crazy good. I make a dish very similar to it at home all the time. It's a famous Chinese recipe called Crying Tiger. Well, they nailed it. First of all, the meat they use is a beautiful quality, so tender and juicy. They told me to squeeze a lime into the salt and pepper, stir it, then dip the beef tips into the mixture. Fantastic. This is one of the best savory dishes I've had in a long time. I thought SK Seafood had the best, but this is even better. This beef is marinated in a mixture of garlic, ginger, peppers, and soy sauce, then seared to a gorgeous charred finish. It melts in your mouth, it's so tender. I can tell that it's a wonderful quality beef and not velveted as it is in many Chinese restaurants. You can have it with the French fried rice or a la carte. Yum, what a wonderful version of this dish. So much going on with each bite. Okay, this is now one of my favorite all-time dishes. Spectacular and one you don't want to miss. And you can thank me later. Many of you know how much I love Asian-style pickled cucumbers, and these are fantastic. Sesame oil, chilies, garlic make this cucumber dish amazing. Somehow, even though not fermented, they remind me of sort of a fresh version of kimchi. In our town, as a kid, there was a little Vietnamese restaurant that my mother and I discovered, and they made pickled cucumbers this way. We fell in love with them. They gave them to you for free as soon as you sat down. My mom used to send me over there to buy them by the quart, and none have tasted quite like that until now. These taste exactly like my childhood memories. I wish my mom were here to taste them. I've had this dish at probably every Chinese restaurant in the city, and I can say without hesitation that this is probably one of the best renditions of it you'll find. Almost completely void of any grease, lightly coated with a mixture of cornstarch and flour, then lovingly fried till golden brown. Beautifully seasoned with salt and pepper, and tossed in a mixture of sautéed scallions, garlic, spicy peppers, and, unexpectedly, Chinese 5-spice. These are absolutely wonderful. Here's the perfect example of less being more, and a triumphant example of simplicity. I highly recommend this dish. What a great version of this time-honored classic. It's a bit of a departure from what you'll typically see, a shade sweeter perhaps, but it works. Nice and spicy, not for the faint of heart, although I'm sure they'll make it ma for you if you ask. They're extremely friendly here and go the extra step to please. There's a diverse mixture of veggies and flavors going on in here. It's almost overwhelming. The chicken is wonderfully tender and has a bold wok. I love the water chestnuts. They give this dish an unexpected and welcome texture that I can't recall seeing in your typical kung pao. The sauce is very intensely pungent, salty, sweet, and with a spicy punch. I love these charred little red arbol chilies. They give this dish that almost burnt flavor that lingers on your palate and makes you crave more. Well, I appreciated the different approach with this dish, and I would happily order this again. Wow, wow, and more wow. I'm sorry to sound like a broken record, but once in a while we're lucky enough to stumble upon a restaurant where the food is so good that it may sound like hyperbole, but trust me, it's not. This is a Vietnamese style curry. Sweeter than a Thai yellow curry, but made with many of the same ingredients. Coconut milk, yellow curry powder, turmeric, and coriander, just to name a few. The chunks of beef fillet are remarkably tender, and the umami taste of the meat is such a bold contrast to this velvety sweet and addicting curry flavor. It also reheats well, as I brought some home on this occasion. I think it actually got better overnight. So don't worry about ordering this and not being able to finish it. If you're a curry lover, this is the dish for you. This dish wasn't around to the 1980s when it was invented in Hong Kong, and I'm so happy it was. On our first visit to Sinh Sinh, we happened to make friends with a sweet woman, Tracy, and her son. They were sitting at the table next to us. They asked us how the honey walnut shrimp was, and I told her that I think it's as good as any I've ever tasted. She ordered it, and suddenly, out of nowhere, I heard a scream. "Oh my God, this is incredible," she said. I put this up there with the top contenders for honey walnut shrimp in the city. The shrimp are gigantic, fresh, beautiful prawns that have been fried in a lighter-than-air batter. The sauce is what I consider the perfect ratio of mayo to sweetened condensed milk and honey. The walnuts can be passed out to kids at Halloween. Candied, coated little delights with sesame seeds. If you get but one dish here, please do yourself a favor and make it this one. Our server told me I had to try this dish, and I'm so glad I did. I was hesitant because I'm not always a fan of scallops. They can be horrible when prepared wrong, tough and fishy. But when they're done right, they're incredible. And these are amazing. I absolutely love this dish. It's a mixture of seafood and veggies in an XO sauce that's bold and bright. It's just bursting with flavor. One of the aspects of scallops which can be a real turnoff is when they have a kind of mealy texture. These, however, have just the perfect amount of firmness. What a joy to eat. So much going on in here. A hint of spice, a punch of garlic, and a sauce that is rich and salty, in a good way, and indescribably delicious. Sorry, but this is yet another must-try dish when you come here. This is a deep, rich, beefy bone broth with so much flavor. As you know, I'm obsessed with spice. But if you're not, they have a tamer version just for you and are happy to make anything less spicy. They give you Vietnamese basil, mint, jalapenos, and shredded cabbage. Stir them in while your soup's still hot, and it takes on all these fresh flavor profiles and comes to life. Taste the broth by itself first, and you'll appreciate what a masterpiece it is and how bold these flavors are. The beef is so tender, and the long vermicelli rice noodles are delicious in this magnificent soup. They definitely know their Vietnamese cuisine here, and I'm loving it. To me, one of the main appeals of pan-fried noodles is that the noodles have two textures going on. To start, crispy through and through. However, as time moves on, the savory aromatic sauce transforms first the outer layers, and then, eventually, all the noodles into a softer, chewy, saucy version of themselves. Basically, it's an initial dish which slowly evolves into a second dish as the meal progresses. As many of you know, when it comes to this dish, I'm usually afraid to order it because it's often a disappointment. The best two places I've found so far in Las Vegas are Taste and Win Key Barbecue. Okay, the moment of truth. And oh my God, this is a wonderful rendition of crispy Hong Kong pan-fried noodles. The sauce is everything in this dish, and they totally nailed it here. The noodles are so crispy, and I don't see a drop of grease. Uber crunchy to start. The flavor of the gravy is absolutely spectacular, and the beef, veggies, and huge prawns are incredible. Well, these are every bit as good as both Taste and Win Key, and I now rank Sinh Sinh in the same category as having the best Hong Kong crispy noodles in Vegas. I guess I have a new barometer by which to judge this wonderful classic dish. I asked our server, "What's the most popular dish here?" And she immediately recommended General Tso's chicken. Well, let me tell you, I can see why it's so popular. First of all, this chicken is fresh and juicy, light, delicate, and not weighed down by a heavy, stodgy batter or drenched in oil. The sauce is sweet and spicy, but not too sweet, just right. I love these little peppers as well. They've been charred and almost burnt. They give this dish a great flavor. What can I say? Yet another outstanding dish. This is one of the most popular dishes, and I see so many people around us ordering it. One taste, and I see why. You know, when you can cook, you can cook. And the chef here obviously knows what he's doing. This dish has to have two things to be up to my standards, and this Chow Fun has both. First of all, you must get a good wok hei. That's the charred, almost burnt flavor that the dish gets from a wok being red hot. It sears in that magnificent flavor in the meat and even in the noodles. The second thing is the proper firmness of the noodles. If the noodles are overcooked and not al dente, it ruins this dish. Well, they got it just right on both counts, and I've already texted my friend Elmer, and the Budster, as we lovingly refer to him, will be dining here very soon. Trust me, he won't be disappointed, and neither will you. You're gonna love this dish. Well, I saved the best for last. As I mentioned before, I'm not usually a huge fan of scallops, but our first foray into scallops here was such an unmitigated success, we couldn't pass up another opportunity. They could be mealy, fishy, or even worse when overcooked, bland and rubbery. Oh my, these scallops are cooked to perfection and have a fantastic clean taste and a firm but tender texture. The outside is actually crispy. I never tasted scallops this good in any restaurant anywhere. I implore you to try these. This is what I would call salt and pepper scallops, and they're absolutely spectacular. The scallops are fresh. They taste as if they were just caught, dipped in a wonderfully light batter, fried, and then brought to your table. These are simplicity at its finest. Just great salt, pepper, chilies, chopped green onions, and garlic. The simplest dishes are almost always the most delicious. I've been dreaming about this dish since I popped the last scallop into my mouth. Don't miss this. It's rare to find a restaurant where everything is so good. Being a perfectionist, I wouldn't serve anything in my restaurant that I didn't feel was the best it could possibly be. Here at Sinh Sinh, you'll find that same dedication to quality. From start to finish, this was perhaps some of the greatest Chinese and Vietnamese food that I've ever had the pleasure of eating. It's a warm, welcoming atmosphere. The people working here are very friendly and helpful, especially when it comes to recommending what to order. You really can't go wrong with almost anything they make. I would say of everything I had today, our top dishes included the honey walnut shrimp, one bite and you're guaranteed to be planning your next trip back, the soft shell crab, one of the best renditions of this dish I've ever tasted, the Vietnamese style toasted scallops. They make any other scallop dish you've ever tried pale by comparison. The Hong Kong pan-fried noodles, so perfectly balanced, with all the proper textures, my new favorite rendition of this dish. And last but not least, the stir-fried steak tips, crave-worthy with their delicious garlic and peppery umami flavors. So, 5 contenders. Yikes, that's some tough competition from which to choose a dish of the day. But, when pressed, if I had but one and only one dish to choose at Sinh Sinh, I'd have to say my dish of the day, with top honors, goes to the honey walnut shrimp. Absolutely amazing, and I've been dreaming about this dish since the moment the last drop vanished from my plate. I've actually been back already since we recorded this review, and they were every bit as good as the first time. A round of applause for the chef, everyone. Now, for the special offer we told you about at the beginning of this video. Tell them Let's Eat Vegas sent you and receive 10% off your bill. This offer is good until the end of November of 2024, and that's a very generous offer. And while you'd be crazy not to try Sinh Sinh, you'd be doubly crazy to miss out on this special offer. Well, we'll be back to Sinh Sinh. As I already mentioned, we've been back since making this video. Who knows, maybe we'll see you there. And don't forget to tell them, Let's Eat Vegas sent you. I know we're all guilty of watching YouTube videos and not participating. Please like, comment, subscribe, or even become a VIP member. It means a lot to us, and it helps us grow and to bring you more reviews. Until we eat again, bon appetit.